Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Welcome Grove Homestead. I've got a bottle with me. We're gonna go feed the little calf. We have named him Clarence because history. For those of you who don't know the history, back when David and I were in high school, I wrote a little fictional book, and as a gift to me, David had it printed and bound. But he actually added his own flair. He added an epilogue at the end. And the epilogue included a cow named Clarence. And ever since, he's always wanted to name a cow Clarence. And so here we are. Good morning, Clarence. Hi, buddy. You ready for your bottle? All right, let's get you fed, buddy. That's it, buddy. You want more, but dude, you just drank a whole bottle, and now he's gonna suck on my boobs. He likes to suck on the reflectors on the back of my boobs. No, handsome. I know. Now that he is fed, I gotta go milk poor Miss Claire. She is still really struggling with edema in her udder. So today I'm actually gonna milk her 3 times and see if that can help the edema go down faster. So she is in the barn waiting for me. I can hear her mooing. So we're gonna take this bottle back to the house, grab the milking buckets, and I'll explain some of our difficulties with milking in a minute. Hey, Mama. I know, you're waiting for me. Give me a second, I'll get your grain. So you can see that Claire's udder is quite huge. The bulk of that is actually edema, which is fluid accumulated under the skin. It's not milk. I mean, there is milk, don't get me wrong, but there is a lot of edema, and that hinders her milk flow. It's made her teats really, really large, so I can't even use my milk machine right now. So every drop of milk that we've been getting has to be canned milk, which wouldn't be a problem if she had longer teats, but she has really short teats, especially in the back, which makes it a real challenge. So we're now on her 3rd day since she freshened, and I can already tell there is an improvement in her teats, especially. They're not quite as hugely swollen, but they're still larger than my milk machine's teat cups. So just having to hand milk her. And she stands really well for it, so she's a good girl. She's been greeting me at the gate for milking time. She's aware that this is giving her relief. I did a little research about edema and how to treat it. Most of the information is about how to prevent it, which is, I mean, some of it is real simple, like having a healthy diet, not being overweight, genetics, you know, all that stuff. So I have a couple of ideas for managing her for next year's freshening, but that doesn't really help me much with now. So the only information that I found that really will help when they already have the edema is to milk them, milk them, milk them. One of the recommendations said to milk 3 times a day for the first week. So starting today, we're going to go to 3 times and see if we can help get her some relief from this edema. And they also recommend udder massage, which I do as much as I can when I milk her, but with how hard everything is with the edema, I'm not sure how effective that is, but I do it anyway. Because with edema versus an udder that's full of milk, if you press on the tissue and it keeps your finger imprint, like that's still dented from my finger. That is because of edema. Yeah, it's still dented. So it just takes a while to get over it. We're gonna do the best we can. Hopefully we can get her up and running and back to normal in the next week or so, because this is exhausting. Props to those of you who do hand milking full time, but the challenge that I'm facing with doing this hand milking with her edema is the fact that I can basically only use these two fingers, especially on her little bitty nubbin teat. That yields very little milk with every squeeze, and you literally cannot fit more than your thumb and index finger on it. So, one thimbleful at a time, I've been milking her out by hand. So, I have with me a bag. It's actually a fairly heavy bag given there's only two things in it. So our friend Josh has, he's been processing some of these steers that he's been raising, and you want to find uses for every part of the animal. And our dogs happen to love feet. He gave us some hooves from his steers. We've got a couple of back feet in here, so we're going to go ahead and give Bindi and Hercules a little something to keep them occupied while they are doing their jobs as guardian dogs. And it's a nice little nutritious snack for them. Hello, Bindi. I feel like Santa Claus with a special treat. Yeah, how does that smell?
So I think I'll bury it for a few days.
And she'll work on that for the next several days. And one thing that nobody really likes to think about is the fact that when you're raising animals for meat, yes, they are meat, so they will ultimately meet their demise, meet their maker, meet the freezer guy. So when we do raise these animals for meat, you end up with a lot of parts that you don't necessarily think about when you're at the grocery store. A lot of offal, which is like the intestines, the parts that you don't really think of as meat, and you get feet. There are some people who like to eat things like pig's feet. I don't know if cow feet is really a thing. They're really hard, but they're soft enough that a dog loves to chew on them. And as you can see, she's settling right in. She loves it. She especially loves it when it has had the opportunity to smell just a little bit. But this is a way that we are able to use every bit of the animals that we raise. That way we know that nothing is getting thrown away, nothing is wasted, no part of that life is wasted. So the dogs get something that they really enjoy, and we know that we have done the best that we can by the animals that we have raised. In the situation where this is from a friend's cows, because he doesn't have enough dogs to keep up with the number of feet coming off of these animals, and so he decided to give us some. We're grateful, the dogs are grateful, and we're looking forward to having more tidbits and snacks for the dogs that are a more natural food source for them to supplement their dog food.
He's learning to romp.
Hi, buddy. Clarence is doing fantastic. He's a week old. He's learned how to drink out of a bucket, which makes it way easier on me, not having to do bottles. He is very lively. He's healthy. He's doing fantastic. Our next plan with him is that it's kind of like a hopscotch kind of plan. The goats are getting a new day pen. So they're gonna get to move out of the neighboring stall slash pasture area. And when they go into their day range area, he will get free run of their whole grass field. So he'll get an opportunity to run, to taste some grass. And the goats will have the opportunity to go and day range out in the woods. But he'll be completely safe because the dog won't be in here. Not that I don't trust the dog, but she doesn't have a whole lot of experience with calves, and it's really not a good idea to let him potentially start seeing her as a playmate because I don't want him to teach her bad habits. There we go, Hercules. Oh, yeah, there you go, buddy. Hello, Ruth.
So how are these sheep doing?
They're doing good. I'm actually looking for Xena. Oh, she's over there, I think.
Yeah, she's just hanging out.
So Xena has gone, that little sheep, not goat, almost a goat. That little sheep is a heck of a fighter. So, I've told you guys her birth story, how I rescued her when she was a newborn. She's got the will to live. Well, a couple weeks ago, I came out here and I was like, she doesn't seem normal. I was moving the herd and she just seemed a little subdued, a little lethargic. So I checked on her and her mucous membranes, her famacha, was white, which meant that she had a heavy barber pole worm load. And I was really worried about her, so I wormed her and didn't have a ton of hope because she was so pale. And here she is, still here. We've done anemia treatments and she's doing okay. Let's take a look. Let's check your famacha. Hello, hello. Her nose is pink again. And her eyes are pink again. They're not super pink, but they are not white anymore. So we brought this sheep back again from the brink of death. For anybody who doesn't have experience in checking famacha, we're gonna show you Ruth here. All right, so you're gonna get their face. She doesn't love it. You're gonna kind of push down on the eyeball just a little bit and pop that lower lid out and check the color. I know. She's like, I'm not gonna cooperate. Let's see how that's nice and dark pink. And she's good. She's got little to no parasites. So she's doing great. And I just try to get a good check on several members of the flock. He's nice and pink. So what I'm looking for is that mucous membrane. Basically, we have the same thing. If you pull down on your eyelid and you see that pink color, it's the same thing that we're looking at on the animals, and it's an indication of how they're doing anemia-wise. Because when they have a heavy worm load, especially with barber pole worms, those cause anemia because they are sucking so much blood out of the animal. So you'll see those really, really pale mucous membranes when they're really anemic. And when they're really bad, like Xena here was, I was giving her red cell, which is marketed technically for horses, but it is an anemia treatment and it is a little hard on their rumen. So if they're not eating, you might want to decide to go with iron shots instead, but that can be a little bit trickier because it's easier to overdose. But she was still eating, so I gave her the red cell for about a week and she picked up, she started eating more, she started keeping up with the flock, and now she's doing really good. I'm really pleased with her progress. But be aware that when you do have an anemic animal, it is going to take weeks for them to recover when they have had severe anemia. It just takes a while for them to build up those red blood cells again. Anemia is a lack of red blood cells in the blood, so they can't oxygenate very well, and as you know, everybody knows, oxygen is needed for the body to function. So when they don't have enough red blood cells, they actually can crash really quickly. Our neighbor down the street, a few days after I treated Xena, called me and said, hey, I have a sheep that just collapsed. His mucous membranes are white. I grabbed my stuff, I ran over there, and unfortunately it was too late because he was collapsing. His body could no longer function because he flat out did not have enough red blood cells in his blood to oxygenate his body. So you gotta catch it quick, and you gotta treat it quick.
This week we are going to be taking one of our IPPs, one of the ones that we bought specifically for me, to the processor slash my buddy's house, and we're going to put them in the freezer. Part of this whole farming homestead lifestyle is raising animals that are cute little babies when you get them and turning them into bacon or beef or lamb chops or whatever it is, and it's kind of a sad aspect, but also it's the fruits of our labor. So the biggest one right here on the end, you can see he's quite ready. He's almost going to be about 300 pounds is my guess. I mean, that's 300 pounds of pork that we get to put in our freezer, we get to bless our friends with, that kind of thing. And having a friend like Joel, in this case, who has the processing space and the cool room to let it hang and age, such a blessing. And so we're gonna be able to give some of that back to him and bless him in return for all they do for us. Really looking forward to that, but Nathan, who does the daily work with these pigs, very much so looking forward to letting the other pigs get some food. You can see just looking at them, there's a stark difference in their size. The way pigs kind of operate is the biggest, the strongest one gets first dibs at the food. So Peter, he's obviously the biggest. Peter and Kevin Bacon are the same age. They are literally litter mates, and you can see how big of a size difference they have because he kind of just bullies everyone off the feed.
Clark's looking a little lean again. I think he's not getting enough food.
Who's that?
Clark.
Yeah. Well, as soon as he goes on Friday, they will all get more food. So I'd be remiss if I didn't share with you a little heads up of what we're doing with these pigs. You can kind of see this pig pen that we're in right now. It's a mess. They're really bad at keeping their room clean. But behind us, you can see these woods, or as I refer to as the Jurassic Park. It's where the pigs will eventually be going as we expand into the woods. Yes, I just threw out a random pig joke because that's how I roll. In fact, over there is a porky pine tree that the pigs are going to be able to forage under. But see, all of this land here is like really well tilled up. This was absolutely covered in grass. Amanda, I'm going to ask you just go right down to the ground in front of you and show them what that ground looked like before. And now imagine that all over this whole pen. They've been in here and you can see the pigs have cut paths into these bushes. And they've really torn up a lot of this area, which is good because we want them to kind of go scorched earth and tear up the bristles and the roots and everything of all these invasive plants so that we can pretty much plant it with hay and nice grasses and that kind of thing and make a nicer pasture and hay area. Good job, piggies. You've been doing your homework, or hamwork. Well done. Well done.
Hey girls,
Hey.
where are you headed?
Milking?
Calf feeding.
Milking calfies.
Yep.
Lovely.
So I've got a bucket of Claire's milk here. It's 1 gallon of milk. And this little guy is going to suck it down in probably 1 minute. Time. You gotta move. There we go. That's why it's hooked.
Hey, Miss Audrey.
Hello.
What are you up to?
Right now I'm tethering goats so I can milk them.
Nice. And is that something you're taking on now around here?
Yeah.
Nice.
Mom's been milking the cow by hand, so it takes so long, so I told her I can work on the goats while you work on the cow. So that's making milking go a lot faster.
Did you feel pretty confident with your milking?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a lot of people really impressed with your milking skills, and we're gonna show them off tonight because you're a rock star. So for those of you who are not aware, our full milking process with our goats these days is a little complicated with babies going in different directions. Audrey's gonna kennel up the smallest baby, Amelia, because she gets a little rationing of grain that we do not want the others to get. That's like a grower grain. Since she will eventually be a milker herself, we want to make sure she has all the nutrients she needs, but we don't want those mamas to get it. Now, obviously, this black and white, lovely diddling there, she is kind of a pig. She'll eat anything, and so she's going to go in a separate kennel over here. These two young ladies here, Molly and Arwen, these are Betsy and Jane's daughters. They're sweeties, and they kind of just hang out. Sometimes we put them in the woods, sometimes we put them in there with Clarence, and we've enjoyed watching him run around with them and frolic. That's quite hilarious because they are terrified because he's so big, and he's like a week old, so he's just thinking everything is new and exciting.
It's a new toy!
Yeah. You want to put him in there with them?
Sure.
And they're all kind of catching on to their little roles and locations during all this. You'll see Audrey will put Jane at her spot. And Betsy's waiting by the gate because she knows she's first on. And she will run and hop right up onto that milking stall stand. There you go. Now Betsy's kind of an interesting case because she is not actually being milked. She's just going in for grain. Her milk is all going directly to her little baby, and that's about it. Over here, of course, we have our freeloader who doesn't milk at all because, you know, she didn't want to get pregnant this year. And these ladies will be milked in the order that they're tethered. And they're tethered for the express purpose of keeping them in order and out from underfoot. That is a funny looking goat you got there, sweetie.
He's a cute one, though.
He looks somewhat like a small cow. Well, you did a fine job milking tonight, Audrey. Good job.
Thank you.
And now you're just waiting on one last goat to finish up.
Yep.
Miss Jane here is one of our originals, right?
Yep. We brought her from all the way over from California all the way over here.
That's right. And here we are with a whole herd of goats.
Yep.
And
From all different types.
so you've recently taken over this task of milking so that Mommy could handle the cows and you'll do the goats. What goat is your favorite to milk?
Mayhem, probably.
Yeah, she's awful sweet.
Yeah.
So you're kind of our goat girl, our bunny girl, all around good gal.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you milk the bunnies?
No. I feed them and water them and give them hay, but I don't milk them.
Ah, all right. Bunny milk would be kind of weird, I think.
Yeah.
Hey there, Mama.
Hey,
We just got done watching your amazing daughter milking all the goats, and
I just finished milking the cow.
there you go.
She is finally reduced enough to milk with the machine.
Explain what that means. I don't know if everyone's quite aware.
It means that she had so much edema in her udder that I couldn't use the machine on her because the teats were so engorged with fluid that they wouldn't fit in the teacups. And so now we have finally gotten to a point after I was milking her 3 times a day by hand for the past week. And she's got that little nubbin teat, it's like that long, and it's like 1 thimbleful of milk at a time. Finally got her reduced enough to get the machine on her. This morning was the first time, and I am relieved because it went from taking an hour to milk this cow to about 20 minutes.
Very nice.
Oh,
What a day. Long day. Good
day.
Sunday. Relaxing. Got a lot done, just kind of chores and relaxing. Our evening is still ahead of us. We got a lot of milk to process.
yes I do.
We actually saw some goats being milked. We didn't get to see the cow, but we saw the wagon full of milk.
Yes.
Hey, I have a shout out. I have a friend out in California named Jasmine. She's about yay tall, and I know she's a subscriber to our channel, and just today I got a text from her daddy that she realized we have a cow named Jasmine. So I wanted to point out to the field and show you. There she is over there in the corner, and she's a princess just like you, and we thank you for subscribing. And it's a lot of fun out here. We miss you so much. But we've had a big day.
Yes, we have.
Fun
A big
to
week.
share it. A big week. Big week.
Big week.
New Clarence is on the farm.
Yes.
Huge. It's exciting.
Yes, and he's healthy, which is the biggest deal. Like, just comparing him and Thunder is night and day. Thunder didn't really kick up his heels until he was probably 2 weeks old.
And that was only after he had to be on antibiotics and treatment. Like,
Yes.
he was really hurting from the beginning.
Baby Clarence was hopping before he even had his first sip of colostrum.
11 minutes old. He was standing, walking around, hopping around. It was just night and day difference. Really cool.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's kind of an encouragement for everyone. You know, we're just past a year on this farm, 14 months-ish. But the growth of knowledge is just exponential. Every day we're learning something. Every time we do a project, we're learning how to do it better next time.
Yes.
And hopefully you can come along with us and see how we're doing stuff and do better on the first time for some of your projects. Or
Yes.
just take that knowledge into whatever aspect of life you're in. Even if it's living in the city and maybe dreaming of your own, or thinking, I'm living vicariously through Welcome Grove Homestead in there. Excitement. Anyway, it's been a good day. We're going to have many more of those. Probably some sad ones, but we don't have to worry about those today. It's all good.
Yes, today is a good day.
Today is a good day.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on our good day.
Yes, ma'am.
As always, this is your country nerd with
A goat herd,
a lot of stuff.
cow herd, some chickens, some silly lambs, dogs that have feet. Anyway, you were saying?
I'm a nerd with basically a menagerie herd. Anyway, you can grow where you're planted.
With a menagerie herd.